great topics on leadership, entrepreneurship, business, career goals. And today is one such special day where we get to learn from one of the best on goals and our purpose in this life. So to begin with, I would like to just introduce our speaker for today. We have with us Mr. Anand Bhatnagar, who is an Assistant Vice President of Learning and Development at Reliance Industries. He's an experienced AVP with a demonstrated history of working in the oil and energy industry. He's skilled in sales, training delivery, management information system, business ops, and business relationship management. He currently lives in Ahmedabad with his wife Smriti and daughter Natasha. Thank you so much, Mr. Anand, for joining us this evening and for taking this opportunity to share your wisdom on this topic with all of us youths here. Over to you, sir. Sir, you're on mute. Just a second. Can anyone help? Sir, are you able to unmute now?
Yes, yes. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, it's clear now.
Okay, great. Right. So I have logged in through two devices. So I always log in through my laptop, and I also log in through my phone, just in case one of the two networks fail. So I should have a backup so that we can have seamless connectivity. Right. So I hope all of you are doing well.
Yes.
And you know, when I saw that flyer, I said, I think so John would have given this photograph, and when you have friends like him, why do you need enemies? And that was a photograph where I had a lot more hair on my head and a less weight on my body, and I was looking at it and I said, man, is this me or what? So I actually thought, okay, I didn't look that bad when I was a few years younger. And so it kind of brought a smile on my face, and it also gave me an inspiration that I need to go back to that shape and form. I don't know how to get the hair back, but we'll work it out, right? So, anyways, and on that count, let me welcome each one of you. It has nothing to do with Reliance. So this session that I'm doing has got nothing to do with the company that I work for, the organization that I serve. It is my personal thoughts. So sorry, I've got a bad throat. So a quick disclaimer: it has got nothing to do with the company. It is me coming on this session on a personal capacity. So don't link what I share with as a statement from Reliance. So it has got nothing to do with Reliance. It has everything to do with me and my thoughts, right? So how much time do I have?
You have 40 to 45 minutes. And after that, we'll begin with Q&A.
Okay, so I hear I've got 4 hours, right?
No, 45 minutes.
So my challenge is I take about 90 minutes only to warm up. Anyways, right? So jokes apart, I will not take much time, but you please prompt me when I'm done with my time, because once I'm in a flow, I don't keep track of time, right? So will I be able to share my slide with you? Let me just check.
Yes, you have the permission.
Okay, so are you able to see the presentation there?
Yes.
Super, right? So what I want to do is give me a second, right? So what I want to do is quickly give you an introduction, and while you did a great job, my name is Anand, and don't call me sir. If you call me sir, I'll call you auntie or I'll call you uncle, and there is a fine of 100 rupees, and you please transfer that money on my Jio Money account, because when हमारा Jio है तो आप WhatsApp या Paytm क्यों करेंगे, right? So jokes apart, but no sir, I'm here to share some of my learnings in life. And yes, talking about goals, it has been one of my favorite topics, and I've spoken about this with a lot of intent and with a lot of conviction, because I believe that we start unknown, but only a few of us finish unforgettable. So to everyone listening to me, everyone under the sound of my voice, the first thing that I would want to give you an input is, are you working to finish unforgettable? What are we doing, or what have we done on the 27th of Feb 2021 so that I finish unforgettable? That's the question that I want to ask you, that you don't finish unknown. We start unknown. That's by default. No one has a choice to do anything but to start unknown, but we all have a choice to finish unforgettable. That's the first thing that I want to share with you. The second thing that I want to share with you is, when you talk about what I have done or what I have done in my life, I believe that whatever I am today and whatever I will ever achieve in my life is nothing to do with me. I'm a very simple, very ordinary person. Did not have great academics, did not have a great start to my career. I believe whatever I am today and whatever I will ever achieve in my life is because of the three pillars of my life. The first is the unceasing praise of my parents, the unconditional support that I get from my wife Smruti, and the ineffable love and the smile of our daughter. Her name is Natasha, right? And that's my family. And I'm a person who has his priorities set in life. For me, God comes first, family comes second, and whatever work that I have comes third. So that priority is absolutely right. And I would want to encourage each one of you to think about what your priorities are, right? And talking about my values, something which again is very, very core to me, I would also encourage each one of you listening to me to think about what values you stand for. Because if I don't stand for anything, I'll fall for anything, right? So the values of empathy, the value of gratitude, the value of generosity, the value of integrity, the value of being vulnerable. I'm a vulnerable person. I'll make mistakes, but I'll cross my heart and say, I'm sorry for that. And the last thing in my introduction, which I want to share with you is, what's your purpose in life? What's your vision in life? What's your mission in life? If I don't have a purpose, which is a stated purpose, then I don't have any license to do this session. Then you can go to YouTube and find out as many videos as you want on goals and purposes, and you'll get a million videos. But I'm here to share with you and to encourage you. As the Bible says, we need to set a vision for ourselves. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2 says, set a vision for yourself. Write down a vision for yourself. What's your vision? My vision is to spread smiles. My vision is to spread positivity. My vision is to impact lives and impact 100,000 lives by 2027. My mission is, no matter what I do, I should be able to honor God first and foremost. And second is, my work should earn respect for my family. Designations, all that is something which has never appealed to me and would never appeal to me, because it's temporary, it is incidental. The privileges, the pleasures, the money, the positions, all that is not in my radar. My radar is, am I pleasing my God? If I were to die tonight, would God say, well done, my good and faithful servant? And the Bible uses the word well done. I have to do it. I cannot be talking about it. It's not about talking, it's about doing. And my purpose in life is very, very clear: to live life with an abundance mindset, because Jesus came on this earth to give us life, and life in abundance. The question that I want to ask all of you young boys and girls is, are you living or are you just existing? And to live a life without a goal, I don't think so. That's life. That's more of existence, right? And to live with compassion and passion. And I need to be better than what I was yesterday. So are you better than yesterday? What's your purpose? So what I want to do is, I have got a few videos lined up for you, and I want to start with one video, which is one of my favorite videos when it comes to setting expectations and what should be my focus as I start my career. So are you all ready to listen to a video and make notes? Please
Yes.
unmute yourself and shout yes. It's let's have a lively session. Let's have an interactive session. I'm not here to give you a lecture because lecture is something I can't deliver. Right. So are you ready for a video? This
Yes.
video is just amazing. And so look at this video and tell me what are your answers. So let's watch this video. It's a 5-minute video, slightly long for the time that I have, but I thought it will be worthwhile for us to watch this video.
So, I was born in Singapore on 24th October 1948. So I guess I've lived in Singapore almost 70 years now. When I grew up, Singapore was still a poor developing country. Our per capita income when we became independent was $500, the same as Ghana in Africa. Either you can say the misfortune or the good fortune of being born in a very poor family in a poor Singapore. So when I was 6 years old, when I went to school for the first day, we were weighed at school. They wanted to see how heavy we were. And I was declared undernourished. So I was put in a special feeding program when I went to school, and the principal had a big pail of milk, and all the children who were underweight were asked to take one scoop of milk from the pail of milk. And our house in Singapore had no flush toilet. There was crime and riots, gangster fights in my neighborhood. So in a sense, I grew up in what you call a typical third world environment. And it's quite remarkable that in my lifetime, Singapore has gone from being a third world country to a first world country. And I have lived through this remarkable transformation. I was dean of the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy for 13 years, from 2004 to 2017. And I would give every student who came to the Lee Kuan Yew School the same lecture. I said, I'm going to share with you the secret of Singapore's success free of charge. And I to tell the students that if you implement this secret formula, your country will succeed. And I capture the secret formula with the acronym in English, MPH. The M stands for meritocracy. Meritocracy means that you select the best people to run the country. And what brings many countries down, especially in the third world, is that when it comes to selecting the finance minister or the economics minister, they will give their jobs to their brothers, their cousins, their uncles, their relatives, and not to the best people. And Singapore did the exact opposite. In Singapore, the jobs were given to the best people. And in the case of the Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, when he went to study in Cambridge University, he was the top student in the class, if not in the university. In fact, his professors were so impressed, they said, you should become a mathematician because you'll become a world-class mathematician. Then he went to study in another great university, the Harvard Kennedy School. And in that university, he's one of the few students to get an article published in a Tier 1 economics journal. Very few students get articles published in a Tier 1 economics journal. So he's incredibly brilliant. And so if the best man of the job is Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's son, then he should be selected. Not on the basis of the fact that he's a relative, but on the basis that he's the best person for the job. So meritocracy is the first pillar of Singapore's secret formula. The second pillar is P, and P stands for pragmatism. Pragmatism is an English word, and it's an English concept. But the best definition of pragmatism was given by China's leader, Mr. Deng Xiaoping, when he said it doesn't matter whether a cat is black or a cat is white. If the cat catches mice, it is a good cat. So in the same way, it doesn't matter what your ideology is. If it works, you use it. So Singapore was very pragmatic. So it would take some policies that are capitalist and some policies that are socialist, and he would mix them up. And that's what pragmatism is about. You're not bound by any ideology. But the third pillar, the H, is of course the hardest to achieve, because H stands for honesty. And indeed, what has brought most third world countries down and what has led to their failures in development has been corruption. And so Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, after he became Prime Minister, made it a point to punish not the junior people, but the very senior people. So when a deputy minister went on holiday with his friend, a businessman, when he came back, he was arrested. And so he said, why am I being arrested? He says, you went on a holiday with the businessman, he paid all your expenses, that's corruption. You go to jail. So when a deputy minister is sent to jail, then everybody says, oops, I got to be careful, I can also go to jail. So that honesty factor is one critical reason why Singapore has been exceptionally successful. So it's a combination of meritocracy, pragmatism, and honesty. Then that's the formula for Singapore's success.
So what's your formula for success? And are we living a life of meritocracy? Are we living a life with pragmatism? And very, very important, are you living a life of honesty? And to all young boys and girls who are listening to me, if you're making notes, please write this down. Character comes before competency. You may be the most competent person, but if the character is missing, you're not worth anything. So the first goal that I would want to share with you, the first purpose that I would want to share with you is what's there on your slide. Always put character before competency. And I can give you examples of so many people. You know what happened to the chairman of Nissan. I hope all of you know that. You know what was wrong with Elon Musk. He was suspended. He was thrown out of his company for 3 years and had to pay a fine of $20 million US. You know what happened to the chairman of ICICI Bank, Chanda Kochar. And the list is endless. So are you living a life of honesty? Are you keeping character first? That's my challenge to everyone who is listening to me. I want to ask you this question. When you think about purpose, what do you mean by the word purpose? Today we are all gathered to understand what is purpose. And again, because we have limited time, we may not be able to have that interactivity, which I otherwise normally have it on my sessions. Because when we interact, when we engage, there's so much of learning that happens. But please forgive me, because of limitation of time, I may not be able to get into that activity mode. So when you think of purpose, the purpose is defined as the original reason for which something was created. The reason for which something exists. And I want you to reflect with me on a few questions. The first question is, God created birds to fly. What do? They fly. God created fishes to swim. What do? They swim. God created seeds to give birth to a tree, to fruits, to flowers. What do? Why was I created? My question to everyone under the sound of my voice is, what is your why? And please understand, when the why is clear, the how becomes easier. I'll repeat what I said. When the why is clear, the how becomes easier. But I can confess for myself, for many years in my life, I had absolutely no clarity about what my why was. And the question that I keep on asking is, am I in a flow or am I going with the flow? I cannot be going with the flow, because I was not created to fit in. I was created by the Creator to stand out. But maybe unknowingly, inadvertently, we are trying to fit in. That's not what I was created for. I cannot be going with the flow. I need to be in a flow. What's that flow? And I want to talk about it for some time. I want to talk about a very, very important concept, and that concept can be found in a book called Today Matters. It's one of my favorite books by one of my favorite authors, Dr. John C. Maxwell, in which he talks about the 12 daily disciplines, the daily dozen he refers to. So does today matter in your life? Or was one more day ticked off on the calendar of 2021? Is it one more page that has been rolled over on the calendar, or was it a significant day for you? Let me tell you, today was indeed significant for each one of us, because today is the slowest day for the rest of our lives. Maybe some of you or most of you are hearing this for the first time. Look at that statement, make a note of it, and think about it whenever you have the time. What does it mean? Things are getting faster. Technology is making things swifter. Am I agile? And agility has to do with speed. Agility has to do with flexibility. Agility has to do with swiftness. Am I embracing the change that's happening with boldness? Let me give you some numbers, because otherwise it just becomes a subjective session. Let me give you some numbers to make it objective. When I say today is the slowest day for the rest of our lives, check out the number of years that different industries took to reach a customer base of 50 million. And what do you see on this slide? And you can check this data on LinkedIn. What does the data trend show? It shows a downward trend. Look at airlines, they took about 68 years, automobiles 62 years, telephone 50 years, electricity 46 years to reach 5 crore customers or 50 million customers. Look at YouTube, 4 years, Facebook 3 years, Twitter 2 years. And Geo took 83 days. 83 days. So what does it take to be in the top 1% of the world's performers? What does it take to be in that 1%? And you can check it out. 1% of the world's wealth is controlled by, or 46% of the world's wealth is controlled by 1% of the world's population. So am I working towards being in the class, or am I want to be in the mass? That's the question I want to ask each one of you. And I think so all that I'm trying to tell you is for me to understand, for you to understand that the future does not start tomorrow. The future indeed had started. It started today. The future has arrived. Whatever I am today is a sum total of what I did in the past. Similarly, whatever I'm doing today is going to impact my tomorrow. And I don't think so we are doing much. What we need is a life of discipline. You may talk about goals and everything that you can talk about for hours and hours and hours together. But you know what, boys and girls, minus discipline, we don't amount to much. And maybe one of these months, if you want, I can come and do a session on discipline, the power of self-discipline. Because minus the power of self-discipline, we don't amount to much. We just don't amount to much. And when you look at this particular image, what comes to your mind? When you think of this image, what do you think? You think of a gem. And in your mind, I would want you to think of what are the characteristics of a gem. And it would be good if some of you can unmute yourself and share with me what makes a gem. What does it take to become a gem? What are the characteristics of a gem? Quick responses, if some of you can give. Am I still audible?
Yes, sir.
That was just a joke, right? So, what are the characteristics? Let me help you. A gem is rare. Would you agree? Say yes or no.
Yes.
Say yes or no. A gem is precious.
Yes.
So, don't write in the chat box. It will be nice to hear some voices. So, what are some more characteristics of a gem? I gave you two.
I guess people are unable to unmute if
Okay. So sorry for that. Maybe that
yeah,
was the setting of the call. So my apologies. I
yeah, yeah.
just know that, right? So if you could help me, what's being said on the chat, that would help.
Yes. Requesting you guys to all put it on the chat box, your questions and whatever Mr. Anand is
Is it possible
posting.
for you to allow people to unmute and share?
Uh, yeah, I can arrange for
Yes,
that.
please
Just
do. Yeah, so if you could do that, because it's always good to listen to voices, because as it is, virtual sessions has very limited exchange of emotions, and chat does not have emotions. So let people speak. So if you could do that, I would appreciate. Thank you. So
yes,
you
so
can
people can now unmute.
correct. Thank you for your help. Appreciate that.
So basically, it goes under pressure to transform itself, and because of which
Fantastic.
it shines. And
Fantastic.
whereas, like the other, like if you compare with coal, which is also carbon, which breaks and which is not able to shine. So
Yes.
you have to undergo transformation. You have to go into the flow to basically learn and do the things so that you shine and become valuable.
Great. What's your name, if I may ask?
Nirbhay.
Nirmal, that's a fabulous answer. That is, I wish this was face to face. I would have given you a nice Cadbury silk as a gift to answer this. Fabulous answer. Very nice. Absolutely. It takes pressure for us to transform ourselves. Beautifully said. Are you willing to undergo pressure to become a gem? Remember, coal, when when it undergoes the right amount of heat, the right amount of pressure for the right amount of time, it transforms into a diamond. God has deposited acres of diamond within us, acres of diamond, but we are looking outside. And I think so we are shying away from the pressure. We are shying away from the pain of discipline. And I love the word transformation that Nirbhay said. And then whenever you think of transformation, think of that caterpillar that becomes a beautiful butterfly. Looking at the caterpillar, no one will say it will become one of the most beautiful creations of God, but it has to go through that pain. Fantastic, Nirbhay. Thank you. And that's the power of having people unmute, because all this writing on the chat box, he would have said, forget about writing so much. I don't want to write. Right. So thank you for opening up the chat, the mute and the unmute button. Thank you so much. So I want to talk about GEM. I want to talk about GEM as an acronym, GEM. I want to talk about what G stands for. G stands for wildly important goals. What are wildly important goals? You may have heard the word critically important, very important. But wildly important means something where failure is not an option. The consequences are so severe that you can't afford to fail. The stakes are so high that you cannot afford to go back. You can't take your steps back. Wildly important goals. And I would want to ask you, what are your wildly important goals? And I want to share with you the difference between goals and desires. Maybe what I have is a desire and I'm thinking of it as a goal. No, there's a massive difference between that. And I want to spend little time talking about it. E is just setting goals. Nothing is going to happen unless I empower myself. Unless I am going through that process of education that Nirbhay also beautifully said, I need to go through that pain of learning. But my question is, are we learning anything? And for all of you are graduate students, let me ask you a question. After your graduation, how many books have you read cover to cover? Research says that 83% of graduate students do not read a book cover to cover post their graduation. And if I were to do a poll here, I think so that 83% will still hold true. Maybe it will be slightly more. It has been more than 50 days of the year 2021. How many of us have read 5 books in the last 50 days? How do I empower myself? Remember, what brought me here is not going to take me any further. Doing more of the same is not going to help us achieve our goals, our aspirations, our ambitions. And third, alphabet is M. I need to measure my progress, because what I don't measure, how do I manage? So stay with me as I spend a little time giving you a high-level overview of GEM. And if time permits, we will talk more about it. So the first is goals. The question is, why are goals important? Let's watch a small video where one of my favorite authors, Brian Tracy, talks about the importance of having goals. And then as I have a few videos lined up for all of you, because I believe videos and visuals create an impact that helps us retain more. Right? So would request you to make notes as you listen to this fabulous video. And I'm streaming it live through YouTube. I hope I have the network bandwidth for it to play. Wasn't that amazing? 6 points. I hope you have made your notes. What are the 6 points that we had in that video? First, it helps us stay focused. So where is your focus today? Remember, if you chase 2 rabbits, both of them will escape. So razor sharp focus helps us measure progress. It helps us stay motivated. And I think so this is a very important word for each one of us. Having that motivation to go about it on a daily basis. We do it on a few days. The challenge is to do it daily. Remember, as John Maxwell in that book beautifully mentions, that decisions will help us get started, but it is discipline that helps us finish. And a question to each one of you, do we finish everything that we start? Or do we procrastinate? And then goals help us beat procrastination and helps us achieve more and more, right? So some points I wish I had more time to talk in detail about each of these things. So the question I want to ask each one of you is, how do you differentiate between a goal and a desire? Think of some of the goals that you set for yourself. It could be personal or professional. It could be physical or spiritual. It could be emotional or financial. Could any one of you unmute yourself and would want to share? What's the difference between a goal and a desire? And I'm giving you things that you will not find on Google. So these are non-Googleable stuff coming from experience of losing a lot of hair. Anyway, jokes apart, any thoughts? What differentiates goals from desires? Okay, so that's a deep question, and I'm sure many of you are thinking about it. So let me help you. So let me help you with some differences between goals and desires. The first one, and this is going to lead us to one of my favorite prayers, which is the serenity prayer. And I'm sure most of you know the serenity prayer, that Lord grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We're going to build upon that. When you talk about goals, I alone own it. I alone can accomplish it. Now, don't get it wrong. It does not mean I become independent. We are interdependent, but it is for me to put in the efforts to achieve it. If my goal is to be back in shape, I need to put in the yards to make it happen. Others can create the ecosystem for me to be able to do it, but I need to do it. There are a few things in life you cannot delegate, and setting goals, achieving goals, accomplishing goals is definitely one of them. So goals I alone can achieve, and it is not dependent upon anyone else but me. If I want to build my business knowledge, if that's the goal, I have to read. No one else is going to read it for me. When you talk about desires, desires is out of our control. The outcome is not in my control. The following of the process is in my control. I will focus upon the lead indicators, not worry about the lag indicators, because the lag indicator, the post facto or the outcome, I can only pray for it. It's the first major difference. Second, a goal is controlled by me. We alone control that goal. And I'll talk more about it. What do I mean by that? Let me share it now itself. So when I say we alone control the goal, that means I alone control the level of activities that I will do to achieve the goal, because goals are to do with actions. Goals are to do with working towards it. So if I want to, let's say, have a goal that I need to get back into shape, I need to put in the efforts, the actions that are going to give me the result that I am desiring. Remember, the results is something that you desire. The inputs is what I control. The desire is out of my control. And as I said, we work for our goals. We pray for our desires. Number two, goals are to do with activities. So whenever you set your goals, and in case you have your goals, whether it is spiritual, whether it is physical, professional, personal, intellectual goals to serve the community, your emotional goals, your relationship goals, your financial goals, no matter what area of life that you have set your goals, remember, I need to act on that. So there's this beautiful line that always stays with me in my head, that I work towards goal. I cannot wish for them to come true. And you saw that beautifully in that video as well. And desires are to do with the results that those activities will produce. And I may not always get the results, but the process is what I follow. And a goal is scheduled. A goal is predictable. So if it is 7:30 in the morning, you will find me in my family prayer. No matter where you are, no matter what you do, that time is sacrosanct. No, non-negotiable. It's scheduled. Do you have your activities on the calendar that you follow? And remember, desires scheduled, and that is so very, very important. Understand, I personally believe that understanding the difference between goals and desires is critical when we plan for productivity. And many of us, some of you on the call also would have heard the difference between goals and desires maybe for the first time. We are not able to differentiate that. I need to work for it. It is scheduled. It is predictable. I alone control it, no one else. The others can create that ecosystem for me to do it, but I have to put in the efforts. And I think so it is the number one principle for us for personal fulfillment and professional productivity. And I think so many of us have this as a goal, that I want to be professionally successful and I need to have a life of fulfillment. So how do I have personal fulfillment? How do I have professional productivity? By understanding the difference between goals and desires. Once you have that clarity, it will help us replace fear, replace anxiety, replace guilt with a sense of drive, with a sense of passion, with a sense of focus. And many of us struggle with those anxiety, with that fear. The fear cripples us. And it will help us go to the next level of productivity, to constantly change orbits. That's what is a serenity prayer, right? And the serenity prayer is the cornerstone of a life. And let me share that prayer with you. And that helps us understand what is in my control and what is not in my control. And many times we inadvertently try to control the uncontrollable. But I need to control what I can control. So what is in your control? Take time out in the evening today, whenever you're done with this session and whatever is planned after this. Write down things that you can control and write down things you cannot control as far as your accomplishments of goals are concerned, and then focus only on things you can control. And I think so that gives us that focus, which is so very important. Talking about goals, do you have goals on what I call the SPICE F acronym? SPICE and F, the SPICE F acronym. I would definitely want to recommend, suggest, and also advise, if I may, for you to first and foremost have your spiritual goals. Remember, not your desires, but your spiritual goals. What are your safety goals? You need to be working with safety as a mindset. You cannot be driving like this. I don't know about the cities that you are currently. I'm in Ahmedabad, and if you have been in Gujarat, uh, the people, they drive here in very different fashions. They will have a helmet, and within the helmet, they would have tucked in their mobile phone. So you need to work upon your safety. What are your personal goals? What are your physical goals? My challenge to all young boys and girls is, can you run your age? If you're, let's say, 20 something, can you run 20 something kilometers? If you're 20 something, can you do 20 something push-ups, diamond push-ups? Be physically fit, because if you're not physically fit, you cannot be mentally fit. What are your professional goals? And some of you who are studying, what are your academic goals? What are intellectual goals? What kind of books do you read? What kind of magazines and journals do you subscribe to? What are your educational goals? Please don't have a goal to pass an exam. Please don't have a goal that I pass an exam and I get a good job. There's nothing called a good job. You need to be fundamentally very, very strong, conceptually very, very clear. What are your goals to do something for our society, for the church? What are we doing to contribute there? What are your emotional goals? Control your temper. Remember, people are not difficult, they are different. I'll repeat what I said. Remember this, people are not difficult, they are different. Learn to explain your emotion of anger. Don't express that emotion of anger. That's a good goal to have emotionally. What are your environmental goals? No plastic use. No single-use plastics will I use, because climate change is hurting us very badly. And what are your family goals and what are your financial goals? So as I come to the end of my time, I don't know whether I have overshot my time, but let me share one more thing with you. Whenever you set these goals, make sure that you set not just SMART goals. I'm sure many of you know the SMART acronym. Let me share with you the SMARTER acronym. The goals that you write should be, first S, should be specific and measurable. So I'm taking the measurable out of M and I'm clubbing it with S. The goals that you set, boys and girls, should give you that drive, should motivate you to do more. Because to have more, I have to be more. For me to be more, I have to do more. So if I do more, I'll be more. And if I be more, I'll have more. Not have more the ice cream. My goals should motivate me into action. My goals should have actions, as we just saw. My goals have to be relevant, has to be realistic, relevant to my value system. And let me share a statement on an open public forum. You will never find Anand Bhatnagar working for any company which has anything to do with alcohol or tobacco. For example, you will never find me working for a company, let's say ITC. Sorry, it is not in line with my personal values, and nothing to do at the cost of values. Never, ever compromise on your values. It has to be relevant. The third or the fourth alphabet, it is T. It is, I need to be able to track it. I need to have on my softboard a dashboard, a scorecard that tells me whether I'm winning or I'm lagging behind. It helps me decide my run rate that I need to have so that I can reach the goal within the time frame in which I need to. And then very, very important, it has to be ethical. And how do you say it is ethical or not? Very simple. Can you share it with your mother? Anything that you cannot share with your mother, never do it. No matter what the world tells you. And anything that you achieve, hiding it from your mother, Not worth it. Not worth it. Honor your father and mother. That's a command that we are given. No secrets. N-O, no secrets between you and your mother, between you and your father, between you and your family. No secrets. And that's the only thing I've achieved in my life. I don't have accolades, I don't have certificates, I don't have money, I don't have anything. All that I have is lived a life of value. I have never done anything that will bring tears of sadness down my mother's cheek. Never. Not worth it. And the last and the foremost is, please record it. Write it. Write it. Announce it. Put it on your softboards. And when you write your goals, there's something that is magical that happens. So, to share with you one last thing, if I may, there's a small video that I want to play. If I'll take about 2 or 3 more minutes, understand what Benjamin Franklin said. And all that I just spoke has to do with preparation. So the question is, am I preparing or am I repairing? Let me end the time that I have with a small video, and that should give you the right message. What am I doing with the time that I have so that I can achieve the goals and ultimately fulfill the purpose for which I was created? Remember, we are creations of the God, of a God, and we are not mistakes of our parents. I'm not here as a mistake. I'm here on purpose. So what are we doing with the time? Watch this small little video. Hope that encourages you. And please make notes as you listen.
Time. Time waits for no one. Time stops for no one. Your excuses will not slow down time. Your indecisions will not delay time. Your complaining will not stall time. And your regrets will not turn back time. So, don't waste your time in anger, regrets, worries, and hate. Because time will not turn back and cry along with you. It's time to let go of the past and stop worrying about the future. Your only time is now. So make sure you spend your time with the right purpose, with the right deeds, with the right emotions, with the right thoughts, and with the right people. Time flies, that's a fact. But you can always spread your wings and soar with time and navigate life the best that you can. Remember, you will never pass this way again. Make it count. Time. Do what it does. Keep moving.
And a good goal that I can have, you can have, is do what time does. Keep moving. But the question is, am I wasting my time in anger, in regrets, in worries, in hate, and all those negative emotions? So as I close, let me encourage you to have a goal, to invest your time. Invest your time in what? Doing the right thing. Remember, there's a massive difference between doing things right and doing right things. As a child of God, I need to focus on doing the right things, investing the time with the right purpose, and fulfilling God's purpose for my life is a good purpose to have. Investing my time with the right deeds. And again, talk about a lot on this point, but don't have the time. Invest our time with the right Emotions. Think about your emotions. Why are we so short-tempered? For what do we get angry on small things? And when you get angry, what is coming out of your mouth? Control your emotions. Invest time with the right emotions, with the right thoughts. Thoughts are things. Always remember that. And the Bible does tell us what should we focus upon, what thoughts should we focus upon, right? And the last is with the right people. And remember this last statement of mine: eagles don't fly with pigeons. Eagles don't fly with turkeys. Eagles don't fly with chicken. God made you an eagle. You need to stay an eagle. You need to renew your youth like that of an eagle. So are you living an eagle life, or are you living a sparrow life? Are you living a chicken life? Doing those chicken talks, small talks, cheap talks, gossiping, talking about someone, not going and talking to that person. Don't do chicken talks. Do eagle talks. You need to fly high. That's a great goal. That's a great purpose to have. And you will say, Anand, uh, we don't have many eagles around. So eagles don't fly in herds. Eagles don't fly in groups. They fly alone. And a bird that flies alone will have strong wings. So be tenacious like an eagle. Have a vision like an eagle. Be a high flyer like an eagle. Have a vision like an eagle. Be loyal like an eagle. And be nurturing like an eagle. So I wish you an eagle life ahead. I wish you a very, very successful life ahead. I wish you a life of uncommon success. I pray that God bless each one of you with his richest and his choicest blessings. I pray the prayer of Jabez over each one of you. I pray that the Lord bless you. I pray that the Lord will expand and increase your territory, your influence. I pray that the Lord's hand be upon you, and I pray that he will keep you away from all evil. So enjoy yourself, have fun, and remember, one of the most important goals I and you need to have is to put God first in our lives. FIRST. First in my family, first in my finances, first in my area of interest, first in my relationship, first in my schedules, and first when I go through times of trouble. So keep God first, keep smiling, keep shining. Thank you for having me on the call. And I don't think so I did bad as far as the timing is concerned, right? Well, I prepared a lot of slides for you, but then need to respect the time as well, right? So back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anand, for these amazing words of wisdom that you shared among us. Mine was one of the quotes that you shared, which I really, really loved, is today is the slowest day of the rest of our lives. So, are we really agile? Are we really changing with the time? And are we adapting? So thank you so much, Mr. Anand, for coming over, sharing this with all of us. And I'm sure that most of you youths here have been blessed immensely. And right now is the time for the question and answer session. I do have one question that has already come to me personally, but if you all have questions, get ready. You can either put it on the chat if you want to remain anonymous, or you could unmute yourself and speak up. So in the meanwhile, Mr. Anand, the first question is it necessary for me to self-isolate in order to complete my goals? If not, then how do I cope with all the distraction?
That's a great question. So first of all, let me appreciate that question. Remember, the Bible also talks about the importance of fellowship, right? So it's very important that I have the right fellowship, right? And please understand, coming together is not fellowship. Coming and discussing about food is not fellowship. Coming and discussing about the weather is not fellowship, right? So coming and gathering together as children of God is so very important. So you cannot achieve anything in isolation. You cannot achieve anything in isolation. So get that out. We need to realize that we are living in times of interdependency, not independency. So there are three levels: the zone of dependency, the zone of independency, and the zone of interdependency. So we are there to help each other, support each other, right? And like the Bible also said, iron sharpens an iron, so a person sharpens another person. So stay in the right fellowship. And that's my first, the answer to the first part of your question. The second part of your question is, if so, how do you stay away from distractions? Knowing that distraction is also an attraction. Anything that does not take us closer to our goals, anything that does not create value for us, learn to say no. Having said that, let me also say this. This is very easy to say, even easier to sit and listen, but it's quite challenging to do it in the real world. But that's what we are meant to be doing. Right? So remember this statement: distraction is also an attraction. And study says a 2.4 second of distraction doubles the chances of us making an error. Stay focused. Very important. Think of a 110-meter hurdle race. You may want to just go to YouTube and watch some videos of 110-meter hurdle race. When the athlete is jumping over the hurdles, you will see the athlete that keeps the eye on the checkered flag, eye on the finish line, is the athlete that wins. So the race is not of the fastest, the race is not of the swiftest, the race is of the one who endures. And I can only endure when I say no to temptations, no to distractions. Hope that helps.
Thank you so much, sir. And we have another question here. In a long term, wherein a professional course of 6 years, how can I stay focused, committed, and motivated all through the duration of my course? And how do I manage other daily activities which are my responsibilities?
Okay, so while I was listening to the question, I have also posted my number on the chat box. Right? So in case we run out of time and you want to talk to me, so I've shared both my numbers. So feel free to reach out anytime, as many times. And if I'm not able to take that call, drop me a WhatsApp message. I will certainly call you back. Right? So coming back to the question, it's a very interesting question. So let me first of all appreciate that question. Think about this question. Do we brush our teeth every day? Is it a compulsion or a choice? You can unmute and let's interact. So you can unmute and talk. Is it a compulsion or a choice to brush your teeth every day?
Choice.
It's a choice. Do we take bath every day? Choice
Yes.
or compulsion?
It's a choice.
Absolutely. So when you take bath, when you brush your teeth, don't you feel fresh from inside? We do. So I believe like we need to brush our teeth every day. I believe like we need to take bath every day. I'm convinced that we need motivation every day as much as we need to brush our teeth and take a bath. So make sure you have your right doses of motivation on a daily basis, the source of inspiration on a daily basis. How do I get that dose of motivation and inspiration? The goals that you set for yourself, make sure that you have an emotional angle attached to it. What do I mean by it? Whatever goal that you have set, you dedicate it to your mother. Say that this is what I want to achieve and I dedicate it to my mother or to my father or to anyone who is very, very close to you. Do it for them. Don't do it for yourself, because when you're doing it for someone else, someone who really means the world to you, you will have that extra energy to pull on when all the strength is gone from your body. So that's the way you stay motivated. Don't set goals for yourself. Set it so that you can dedicate it to your mother. And for me, there can't be any special person than mother, because she is our mother, right? So make sure that you dedicate that goal to someone very, very special. That emotional angle to the goal, trust me, will take you the extra mile. When there is no fuel left in the body, there is no energy left in the body. How do you take those extra steps? That emotion will help you take that extra step. And the other part of the question is, how do I do my daily chores? That's what you do. You do that, right? So there is no shying away from our responsibilities, but make sure you are working on things which add value. Make sure you are working on things that creates value. Make sure that you are not wasting time. Make sure you focus upon the 4 favorite words of mine. ROTI. So ROTI is something that we eat every day, we see every day. So what does ROTI stand for? Return on time invested. So when you invest your money, you would want your money to grow, your 10,000 to become 11,000. No one wants 10,000 to become 1,000. So that's the return on investment. I think so. We need to think about ROTI as much as we think of ROI. So equate that and give equal importance to both ROI and ROTI, return on time invested. I hope that helps you with the answer.
Thank you so much. And there's a final question here. Also, guys, if any of you do have a question, can you unmute yourself maybe and speak up? So it can be a little more interactive, because I'm getting personal questions though. But I mean, y'all can, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, this is Amit. So the thing which I'm finding
just a second. Just let me increase the volume of my internal speaker. Just a second. Yes. Could you say that again, please?
Yeah. Am I audible loud enough?
Yeah, you are audible, but your voice is very feeble.
Okay,
You're not heard actually. It's quite low.
Let me come closer to my system as much as I can.
Okay, you continue with your question. I'll connect with my microphone again and try again.
Okay, now, you could speak now. I'm hearing you.
Okay. So my current biggest challenge is to pick the critical few, even out of those SPICE F lists, to pick the critical few to start with. So that is my current challenge I'm facing.
Okay, that's a great question. So the critical few, as I understand, is the 80-20 principle, the Pareto's law. The 20% of our efforts that will generate 80% of the results, and not focusing upon the insignificant many, which is the 80% of our efforts that only give us 20% of the results. So how do I focus only on the 20%, the critical few? Again, the answer is compelling goals. Compelling goals on all other areas of your life. So always asking myself, is this investment of time yielding me any positive return? Always ensuring that I keep the main thing the main thing. As Stephen Covey in the book 7 Habits talks about, always focusing upon the big rocks. What are the big rocks? What are the must-dos for me in terms of the accomplishment of my goal? That's how you focus upon the critical few. What I would also suggest is we can get on a call, and if you are okay with sharing your overall life goals, long-term, mid-term, and short-term, then I can help you kind of chisel out what are the critical few that you should focus upon. Once you do that, I think so it requires a lot of dedication and a lot of discipline to do that, right? So use that ABCDE method that is so useful. Think of the activities that are must to be done. Think of activities that should be done. Think of activities that could be done. Think of activities that could be delegated, and think of activities that need to be eliminated. So use this ABCDE method to kind of focus upon the A and the B. That's the critical few. But the C and the C is the fun and the easy. right? So I'm not here to take the path of least resistance. Taking the path of least resistance is doing the fun and the easy, but I need to do the hard and the difficult, right? And that is what A and B is. So think about the spice F that I spoke about, and think about what are the must to do things that I must do, and then check, am I doing it or not? So it's not the lack of awareness. I think so. It's the lack of discipline in that sphere of life. So that's how you do that. So, but that's a great way of putting it. The critical few and the insignificant many. For those of you who want, you can drop me a line. I will share a book which is titled 80-20 Principle. It's a fantastic book. And for those of you who would want a template for you to take benefit out of this session, I have created a template which I have made, read hundreds of books, listened to hundreds of TED Talks, and I don't know, all that efforts that I put in. It has culminated into a book which I've titled Design Tomorrow. So if any one of you wants that book called Design Tomorrow, it has templates that will help you put into structure everything that I shared over the last 60 odd minutes that we have been on the call together. So drop me a WhatsApp message, more than happy to share that with you. Design Tomorrow is the name of that book which I'm referring to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And anyone else before we move into our announcements? You do have 2 minutes more. So if anyone would like to ask questions, it's your chance and opportunity.
So Anand, if you want to share, so if you started with all the items in our spice F list all together at once?
No. You can't do that, right? That's again a great question. So it's not doing everything together, but yes, taking those baby steps. For example, when we eat food, when we eat a roti, we don't take the whole roti and gulp it. We break it into small pieces, right? So take one element of your life, the goal that you set in that part, then break it into small chunks, and then take baby steps to achieve it. Because that achievement of those small milestones give us that push, give us that pat on the back to move on. So that gives us that motivation and drive that we need to do. And also remember to celebrate small successes, celebrate the small baby steps. We used to do it while we were in school. For example, if you hit a nice 4, you would say yes. If you're a bowler, if you took a wicket, if you play football, if you scored a goal, you would say yes. You did not win the match. It was just a nice stroke. It was just a wicket that you took. But you celebrated those moments. When all those moments club together, helps us win the match. But I think so as we grow, we stop celebrating those small milestones. So focus on a few and make sure that you don't miss out on celebrating small victories.
Thank you.
Most welcome.
Thank you so much for all who've asked their questions, and for Mr. Anand, thank you so much for sharing, answering all of those questions and sharing your wisdom with us. Now let's move to the final announcement before we close the event. Our next Soul Magnet webinar is going to be on the 13th of March, which is the second Saturday of March. We have made a slight change in our upcoming dates, and this will be communicated with you on every webinar. So it's not going to be on the 4th Saturday going forward, but it's going to be on the 2nd Saturday. But we will communicate with you the dates as and when the sessions come ahead. So on 13th of March, we have with us Dr. Peter Kumar, who we all know has come before on Soul Magnet Online and has shared the word of God with us as well. So he will be there on 13th of March, and get excited to hear words of wisdom from him as he shares from his experience in all around the world where he's been going around speaking at different sessions and ministering the word as well. So get excited, get your friends along, and we'll meet at the same time, 8:30 p.m. And we have a contact number displayed on the screen. As you can see, we have Sagar Mageri's contact number. Any kind of testimonies that you have, any kind of feedback that you would like to give us, or you would like to stay connected with us and know more about our upcoming events, our webinars and conferences, do send in your message on the given contact number, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for all of you who have joined in. We know this is a weekend and you all have given your valuable time out, but this is an investment and you will surely reap the reward of it in the future. So thank you for all of you who joined. Thank you so much, Mr. Anand. We're so glad to have you.
I've also shared my personal email ID on the chat. So just in case anyone wants to reach out. So you have my email ID, you have both my numbers. So feel free to reach out anytime, as many times. So thank you for having me on the call. Look forward to sharing some of my experiences sometime in the future. So thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. And also, I will be sending, if anyone has not or may have missed noting the email ID or the number in the chat window, I will send it across. You can message us and we'll send you the details as well. Thank you so much. Once again, everybody, have a happy and a blessed weekend. God bless you, and we will meet once again next month on 13th of March. Until then, God bless and goodbye.
Goodbye and God bless
Happy
you.
weekend.
Thank you.
Happy weekend, sir.
Happy weekend to you.
Happy weekend.
We can to all.
Good night, all.